How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? What's the real truth about Citizen Kane?
It'll probably turn out to be a very simple thing.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm Parker.
And I'm not fit to be a senator. I'm not fit to live.
And welcome back to another episode of Better Than Citizen Kane, the highly subjective show where we look at a movie and ask that titular question. Because when every movie ever made is a reasonable contender for the title of greatest film of all time, you have to wonder, better than Citizen Kane.
So, get out your apple, donut, thermos, and copy of the Constitution, because this week Parker and I are filibustering in favor of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939.
Ooh.
Did you notice that was his lunch for his filibuster? He just pulls out like an apple or two, an orange,
I like
a
that it's
donut,
kind
a
of like a
thermos.
clown car logic. Like, it just keeps coming. There's just more
he
pieces.
pulls a thermos out of his suit jacket. And
Yeah,
you're like,
which
how
is
long was that
crazy.
in there?
Yeah.
Well, now, how long was that?
I can't imagine
was a
that's very
bad-
comfy. Off to a great start.
Parker, what do you think about JimmyTheMovie.com? What if I tricked you? What if this was an episode about Jimmy, starring KJ Apa as Jimmy Stewart? The untold story.
If you did that to me, this would be our last episode.
No. Well, good thing it's not. But just, for those who haven't seen the Jimmy trailer, specifically the most recent Jimmy trailer, just highly recommend going and checking it out. If for nothing else, just the way that KJ Apa delivers as Jimmy Stewart. This is just like in the movies. But it's not the movie.
But then, like, anytime he yells, it disappears immediately. Like,
Yeah.
he can't raise volume and keep it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's what they call the Jimmy Stewart limit. It's the Jimmit.
The Jimmit. Right.
If you're doing a Jimmy Stewart impression, you try to yell, it goes away.
Yeah. Take it to the
Yeah.
Jimmit one more time.
Take it to the Jimmit. Take it to the Jimmit. Well, which is interesting because Jimmy Stewart has a great yell.
Yeah, he
and
does.
I would argue this is perhaps his best yelling movie.
I think so. I think that argument could be very well made.
If nothing else, there's just a lot of yelling in this movie.
Yeah. This is our third Jimmy Stewart on the pod, yeah?
Vertigo first episode, It's a Wonderful Life last year, and this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think
we're
we covered
missing one.
anything else. Puss in Boots, The Last
I
Wish.
haven't forgotten Fievel Goes West, have I?
No, we didn't cover that one.
Oh, that's next year.
Yeah, that's next week.
Right. Of course.
But Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The
yeah.
Last Wish, obviously.
Right,
Jimmy
yes,
Stewart
of course. Yeah.
came out of retirement for that one.
Yeah.
But this won't be our last Jimmy Stewart for sure.
No.
Like we've at least got one more in us.
Yeah.
Which we've had discussions about.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yes.
He goes there,
Mm-hmm.
and things happen.
And credits roll.
And that's it. That's
That's
really
it.
kind of the
He went
summary.
to
So do you want to move into
Washington,
criteria?
It's the inverse of, I talked about on It's a Wonderful Life. It's a movie that's premise is the last 20 minutes. This movie's premise is the first 15, and then the movie's over. He got to Washington. We're done.
Yeah, he goes to Washington.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I'm going to get on this train.
Yep.
Then he goes to Washington. That's it.
And that's
the
it.
end of
That's the movie.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Which is
So,
wild.
kind of interesting. I mean, this is Capra was out the door going to war, right? So
Right, naturally.
naturally. This is our
And
second
Jimmy had
Capra.
to go make Jimmy the film.
Yeah, he had to go
after
make
this.
Jimmy the film. Jimmy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He got drafted into making
Got drafted
Jimmy.
into making the film.
The untold story of Jimmy Stewart. Is it?
Is it untold?
Is it a story?
I
Or is
feel
it
like
untold at all?
I feel like it's
either
pretty well known.
Either it's told or it's just not that much of a story.
I
You know?
guess.
Well, I
Who
went to
knows?
war. Okay.
Okay.
So did everybody.
A lot of people did, Jim. A lot of people from Hollywood did,
A
Jim.
lot of people from Hollywood. I like that we're blaming him as if
Yeah.
he wrote the
As
movie.
if this is his fault.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, we jest, but
Yes.
next time we will be talking about what was the joke we just made was going to be our next movie.
Fievel Goes West.
Oh yeah. Just as a little heads up, next movie, Fievel Goes West. Movie after that will be Young Washington.
Right.
And then after that, just kind of alternating between Jimmy Stewart and Washington movies. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
I like that.
hard pivot on episode 89. This is our second Capra.
Yes.
And It's likely to be our last Capra. No.
Probably. I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
It happened one night.
Oh, yes, of course.
We'll do that eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to give us some sort of like,
tied in a nice bow. Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't though. So, Parker, every time I would bring up that this was coming up, because I put this on the calendar like a year ago, because I watched this for the first time January 2025, and loved it. It was my favorite first time watch last year. And that's like after a whole 12 months, I was still like, nope, that one really got to me. And so I was like, we're going to do it next year because I like to make up fake rules. And so I was like, we can't do it until next year because the schedule's already full for this year. And every time it would come up, you would just kind of bring up this point of like, that's going to kill me.
Yeah.
With everything going on, explain that a little bit. Like, where was that coming from for you?
I talked about this. Like, I was able to put into a bit of words how I was feeling about this when I put in my Letterboxd review this most recent time, which is that like the movies TM make smoking look like the coolest thing in the world when it's actually terrible and actively kills you. And I think it kind of does the same thing for America. Like you watch movies like this and it's like, wow, like American ideals. And then you take a step back and it's like, well, did American ideals ever exist? Will they ever exist again? Like, I don't know, because they don't feel like they exist right now. And they certainly haven't felt like they've existed in my adult lifetime, like
and flipping through the history book.
Yeah, it's, and so it's just, I have not revisited this film. Not within my adult life, because I think I had this logged at some point in the last like 5 or 6 years.
Oh, okay.
But like,
I was gonna ask if it was like since first Trump term or something.
I mean, I certainly must have been. I'll see if there's anything here, but like, it's not one I've watched a lot, mostly because it just it makes me really sad thinking about like a very deep rooted sense of patriotism that I once had growing up that I have been jaded about as I've grown older. And this movie, like, it's like little 7-year-old Parker's like tugging on my shirt and being like, hey, but like America can be kind of cool, right? Like, we watched Liberty Kids, like, doesn't that seem great? And I'm like,
and the height of American values was Liberty Kids.
I think so.
I don't remember much from that, honestly.
I watched this April 2020. That was the last time I've watched this movie. It's been 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
We've had 2 elections since then.
Yes, we have.
Wild. I mean, that's very fair. That's something that you've talked to me a lot about in our friendship. I feel like it's come up, this notion you had when you were younger of like patriotism and like, pride in your country, belief in your country and what it stands for. It's very much the like late Obama administration. Not that this is when you were a kid, because I know you were an adult by then, but I just mean like late Obama administration, early Trump of like, this isn't what America is.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fair. And I watched this movie and I don't think, okay, here's my take on this movie really quick. Here's a new take, because I've written pieces on this that I've sent out to my friends. That's how much of an impact this movie made on me last year, is I started writing a piece and sent it to people because I was like, listen to what I have to say. But here's a new one for you, Parker, which is, I think that this movie is akin to The Social Network in the sense that, like in this, so for those who are unaware, in the Social Network, weirdly a very prevalent movie in our discussions on this show.
Yeah, it comes up a lot.
But like, Sorkin writes that and clearly has a certain amount of sympathy and respect for Mark Zuckerberg. He's like, he's an asshole, but I respect the way he changed everything.
Can't argue with his results, yeah.
Yeah, can't argue with his results. And he also has like that clip. There's a clip from behind the scenes where they're discussing it. And Sorkin's like, well, he got wronged by a girl, so we feel for him. And Fincher is very much like, no, he didn't. Like, he didn't. And I feel like Sorkin wrote it with a certain level of sympathy and respect, and Fincher directed it like he was a ghoul, because he was. And I think that creates a very rich text. And I think you have the inverse here, where I didn't actually look at pronunciation, but Buckman, who wrote this, right? I mean, card-carrying communist, to my understanding, I think wrote this movie not as a satire, not to take down America, but to take someone who believes in what they're told America is and show them the truth.
Yeah.
And very distinctly not have that truth argued with by anyone except for him and the person he changes the mind of. And I'll get into that in a second, because Capra, I think, directed this. Quote, fuck your themes.
Yeah.
He directed this with it's just about America. It's about America, it's patriotism. Like,
right.
what are you talking about?
There's the great John Cassavetes quote where he's like, maybe there never was an America, maybe there was just Frank Capra.
Right. And so Frank Capra can't make this movie without it being a piece of patriotic work.
Yeah.
If not full-on propaganda. There is literally a sequence in this that is just images overlaid on a waving flag.
Look, I mean, there's a reason that when the war starts, the government hires Capra to do training and propaganda films. They're like, this is the guy who knows how to put patriotism on the screen.
Yeah. And I think that makes this movie really interesting, because it does feel like Capra is being made to be a Jefferson Smith.
Yeah.
In a sense, he doesn't have the niceness or the naivete, but in the work that he makes and the magic that he creates, as much magic as a anti-Semite can make. I think that there's an interesting dichotomy there, is all I really want to say. And that's why I evoke The Social Network.
Yeah.
Because when I watched this, and I noticed it this time, and I want to bring it up, I have the script pulled up, the conversation between Jeff and Saunders at the Lincoln Memorial, I was really paying attention again this time.
Yeah.
And it would be so easy for that scene to be her being like, no, but you're right about America. You're right. We are a great, but it never goes that far.
Yeah.
Dialogue-wise. And I find that very interesting. So that's just me, I'm teasing my take and my discussion that I want to have here, but I find it very interesting because for me, like going into this, I was just like, I don't, for whatever reason, maybe it's just who I am, maybe I'm fully projecting onto this, but I don't see it as a full-on patriotic message by the end. I don't watch this movie and come away going, America's great. I come away from this movie feeling like we need to keep fighting America so that good things can happen. And that's kind of, I feel proud of the people who have done good things.
Sure.
In America, there are Americans who have done great things.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in this idea of the country and the system inherently being good, because this entire movie is showing how flawed the point of the movie is someone who fully believes that America is great sees the system and the rot and DC for what it is and pushes against it until he basically keels over.
Yeah.
And the movie just ends there. And it's
such a,
I think that's a very specific ending. It's not.
The ending is very interesting.
Like, I watched this with previous guest on the show, friend of the show, Amy, watched this with them, and the movie ended. She was like, "Oh, I did not think that's where it was. I thought it was going to end with him going home." And I was like, "No." And I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Like, he's out. And anyway, okay, sorry. We don't have to talk about the ending right now. I unfortunately, we're recording this pretty soon after our last episode. And, this recording date kind of came up very quickly. So I didn't have as much time to research as I would have liked. I don't know what you know about the production.
I've got some stuff.
Okay.
Not as much as maybe I would like, but just kind of the basic things to know are this originates as an unpublished short story called The Gentleman from Montana by Lewis L. Foster. Gets picked up by Columbia Pictures, and they start developing it. From there, it very quickly, it's interesting how fast it encounters pushback of any kind before it even gets like its full inception. It began as a treatment in 1937. Columbia Pictures opens the story, originally intended as a vehicle for actor Ralph Bellamy, with a very stern warning from Joseph Breen, who of the Production Code Administration. And he basically put out a notice to all of Hollywood. He said the story was, quote, an unflattering portrayal of our system of government, and he warned Columbia and all other potential studios to proceed at their own peril if they made this movie. Like, before the movie's even made, the powers that be are saying, we don't like this. We don't like this at all, actually.
Right.
Which is really interesting. From there, it gets kind of shopped around a little bit. They have a director. He drops out. That's where Capra comes in. Capra is in the middle of the dying embers of what was going to be a biopic about Chopin, and it didn't work out. And so he was looking for something new. He hears about this. He reads the story. He thinks it would be a perfect sequel to Mr. Deed Goes to Town, his previous film. And so he picks it up as Mr. Deeds Goes to Washington. It's good. They're going to get Gary Cooper to come back. That's the whole plan. Gary Cooper can't do it. He's not allowed to come and do it because of a previous scheduling conflict.
His mom said no.
His mom said no. And so instead, it pivots over to Jimmy Stewart, who he had just worked with the year before on You Can't Take It With You. MGM loans him out, and they're off to the races. It's interesting that with this casting change, initially, Capra had also altered his mental conception of the character from being Southern Illinois rather than Montana. No state is ever mentioned in this movie. He's not from anywhere.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think that would be too targeted to pick a specific state and say, that entire state's been bought. Yeah. Everything going on there is corrupt. So they keep it nameless, but in his mind, he's from Illinois, which I think is really interesting.
Okay.
He's super, super into details and realism. They put a lot of work into this of Capra and Buckman go and take a research trip in D.C. They go and see the sites and get everything they can out of that. Back in Hollywood, the art director Lionel Banks built a exact full-scale replica of the Senate chamber, down to the details of like scratches, like specific scratches in the desks. Like,
I was gonna say,
it's a remarkable set.
It is. It really is. It really kind of blows you away in that final act.
Yeah, because I remember like every time I watch this movie, we get to the stuff in the Senate, and there's always part of me I'm like, oh, they didn't film this on location. That's crazy because it looked like every single time I'm like, yeah, they must have just gotten special permission while Congress was out. Something, I guess, because it just looks spectacular. And that was the name of the game, is that Capra just really wanted everything about this to be real. It wanted to feel like it was a real time and place. Obviously, he pulls in his stable of people. You see a lot of character actors from other Capra films in this. Obviously, Ma Bailey and Uncle Billy are here. Thomas Mitchell. Like we get a lot of them. Mr. Gower plays the majority leader. There's just it's all the same people. Capra had his group that he liked to work with, and most Hollywood directors did at the time. Yeah. They did some location shooting in D.C. Obviously, the rest of it was shot in California. There was some friction about what was going on in the script, like you said, between Capra's, very staunch, straight down the line American patriotism versus Buckman's, communist ideals kind of coming in left, right, and center. What's really interesting, there's a great piece that I found online from a blog called 24 Frames of Silver called It's an Immigrant Life, Decoding the Immigrant Narrative in Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which is really great. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece.
Yeah.
But something they point out, which I think is important, and you can feel it when you watch this film specifically, is Capra is an immigrant. Like, he's an Italian-American, moved to the States when he was about 4 years old. And that is a pretty under-discussed aspect of his background when looking at his filmography, but it's everywhere. Like, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And something they point out here, which is really interesting, is like Smith is like Jeff is pretty immigrant coded. He's coming from the outside. He is, you know, a stranger in a strange land and doesn't know the customs and the language, and everybody is like, let's get this country yokel out of here. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then it takes an outsider to change the system, right? Which is just, it's an interesting kind of immigrant ideal. And like, that's the thing of like, when I talk about the things that like I was patriotic about when I was younger, that I still am, is like, it's the great American melting pot. It's like, let's make a country of everybody. Let's get everyone in and we can all be under one umbrella. And isn't that great? And like, there's elements of this movie that call to that in a big way. One really minor one, I'm skipping around, but just while my brain's on it, like, I love the choice that the newscaster is very specifically Irish. Like they like, they could have gotten anybody for that, but like Capper wants him, and I don't know why he wants him. I don't know why that choice was there, but it is a choice, and everything in a film is a choice. And I think that's so interesting of like, the voice carrying this story to the rest of the nation is not a New Yorker drawl or, you know, Southern. It's Irish. I just find that really interesting. Let's see.
Speaking to that as well, like when we go to the boys stuff, you know, magazine printing sequence, like there's very specifically like a young black kid who is given like a few different lines to say and is like put.
Yeah, he's featured within this
montage. Yeah. And I feel like that, I mean, I don't know, but it felt different to me for the time. Like I was like, that's, you know, that.
Well, especially because like the film is still like, you know, on that subject specifically, like it still has the trappings of a 39 film. Any actors of color are in service roles. You know, they are the bellhops and the train workers and things like that. And they get their moments of comedy. You know, they have the bit about dropping all the luggage and leaving. And that's pretty par for the course. But like you said, to show a montage of grassroots America versus the system and to feature a little black boy doing that is of note for 1939, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, the ending went through a couple changes. Originally, according to some like script notes, there was a concept that Jimmy Stewart and Gene Arthur would go back to his hometown and they'd be greeted with this big parade. And he's like, you did it. You beat the machine. You beat the man. And they'd get their kind of happy ending there. The big montage of the Taylor machine coming apart at the seams and getting, you know, torn asunder in a big way. My brain immediately goes to like, you know, the quick little aside in Santa Claus is Going to Town where it's like, well, the Burgermeisters fell out of power and everybody kind of kicked him out and whatever. Apparently there was...
Go keep going.
Apparently there was a possibility of a scene of Jeff visiting Senator Payne in the hospital, and they have a reconciliation of some kind or another.
Okay,
apparently
so it sounds
some
like
of these. Oh, go ahead.
They had a lot of different ideas of how the movie could be worse.
Yeah, some of this footage can be seen in the film's trailer. Like they shot some of this, and it just never made it to the film. The final cut.
Glad it didn't.
It's a great the ending as it is so much better.
Stronger
it's
without
so much
that.
Stronger without that.
Like what you're describing is not worse, it's just way more par for the course for the time, like for the period. That's what you'd expect to happen.
Well, it feels within the Hays Code, right? It's like all villains must get their comeuppance. We cannot let anybody and I'm not going to say that Taylor wins at the end of this because he clearly doesn't, but like it's the same thing we get with Mr. Potter. Like we don't get to see him get rebuked for what he did. That's not the point.
We don't, and in the case of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, I feel like it feels fairly pointed to me that we don't see his machine come apart. Probably just because nowadays I see that and I go, well, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
This is a small victory. This is not we've we've torn down the Taylor machine, and congrats, corruption is now out of Washington.
Yeah.
The ending of this works so well for me because it's not that. Because the ending is just, he got pain to admit his own thing. But like, again, like, I don't come away from this being like, wow, well, they really solved everything in Washington.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it doesn't come across that way for sure, but it is this small victory, I think. When the movie comes out, it was well-liked by audiences, and anybody in a position of authority hated this movie.
Yes.
It premiered at Constitution Hall in D.C., was immediately attacked by the Washington press and politicians in Congress as anti-American, pro-communist, and socialist. Senate Majority Leader Alben Barkley claimed that he spoke for the entire body when he declared the film to be, quote, as grotesque as anything I've ever seen. Imagine the Vice President of the United States winking up a pretty girl in the gallery to encourage a filibuster. It showed the Senate as made up of crooks, led by crooks, listening to a crook. It was also vicious an idea. It was a source of disgust and hilarity to every member of Congress who saw it. Capra was really kind of blown away by this response. He was not expecting this at all. He'd specifically gone out of his way of working with Buckman to ensure that no political party or state is ever mentioned by name in the movie. Like, there is no Republican, there is no Democrat.
They talk about nothing. His party, but...
Yes, they leave it, that's it. Like, it's just the majority leader and the minority leader, and that's as far as we get. And he really tried to get everything as tame as possible. His response to Barkley was to publicly point out that there is actually only one corrupt senator in the film, and that the real-life senators seem to have lost their sense of humor, which I think is really funny. The U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom lobbied Harry Cohn to withdraw the film from European release because he thought it was an indictment of our government that would, quote, do inestimable damage and harm to American prestige all over the world at a time when World War II had just broken out. Yeah, like it's crazy. Just
I did not know that.
People were not happy about it. FDR came out and conveyed a liking for the picture after he viewed it with some servicemen on a battleship, so he liked it. That
wouldn't have helped with.
No, I don't think that. I think it helps your case against the people who are
with the people in Congress who are like, "This is communist."
Yeah. I don't think that three-term FDR is winning any more.
Guy who did the New
goodwill off
Deal,
of that.
and everyone was like, "This is communism."
Yeah. But it kind of like it's gotten more of a reappraisal now, but at the time, it got completely swept under the rug by Gone with the Wind. Like, that took any impact it could have had, was that year just
interesting.
Swept it right out.
Well, frankly, Parker, I don't really give a damn about that movie.
Quite. Very good.
Quite.
Yeah, so, like I said, as time has gone on, it's gotten more of a reappraisal.
Was this like a TV classic then? Is that how that came to be?
I'm not sure. I couldn't find a lot about it in that regard. Let's see. Is there anything in this research document? I don't think so.
It's just, yeah, I mean, that's just very interesting of like, I wonder.
Yeah. I think part of it is just that it became part of the zeitgeist. Like, anytime, to this day, anytime the filibuster is brought up, somebody will mention this movie.
Yeah.
And it's been that way, from what I can find, since the day it came out. Like, it's just somehow, some way, it will be talked about. And that, I think, gave it kind of cultural legs as time went on. And I also think that a big part of it was, like, it seems like there was a bit of a reappraisal for it once America was well and truly into World War II. Because then it becomes this beacon of, like, this is what we're fighting for. This is the thing that we are fighting to save back home, you know?
Right.
And I think from there it kind of gets a bit more of a reconsideration from. But again, mostly it's just critics. Audience seems to like it a lot and have liked it consistently.
Yeah. Critics in Congress.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's most of what I've got here.
Yeah.
I don't have. I mean, we'll get there when we get there. Ah, yes. Okay, 1989. It was added to the National Film Registry.
Okay.
Yep, it's in there.
89. That's like the first year of that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so it gets in right at the top, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, let's see. Did we? I mean, we touched on it briefly. Did you have anything to add about like personal history with the film?
Not really. I mean, it's one of those titles that I feel gets parodied a lot. Of just like Mr. Blank or Miss Blank goes to Washington. You know, like I just feel like that I've seen that like around. So I think that was my only real conception of it. Was like, oh, there's a movie where Jimmy Stewart plays a guy who goes to Washington.
Yeah.
That was truly all I knew about it.
That's fair.
So then I watched it for the first time last year when, you know, Trump's second term began and everything with Doge and everything. And I was just like, now feels like a good time for this. And it was in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember seeing this for the first time?
I don't remember when I mean, it is most definitely in the halcyon days of the 12 to 13 library watching movies in my bedroom. Like, I know that. I know
the legends.
I know that I watched it young enough that when I was 15, my family went on a road trip across the Dakotas, and when we got to Mount Rushmore, one of the people like giving a speech mentioned Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and I let out a woo woo. So I know I'd seen it.
Heartwarming to know Parker's been going woo woo since he was at least 12.
Yes. So I don't remember the first time I watched this, but I do know that it's been in the zeitgeist for a while for me. I've had I went through. I used to with my movie collecting. I would just buy anything and everything I could get my hands on. I was like, I want the biggest collection of whatever. So I was scouring like Walmart $5 movie bins. It was a lot of DVDs and stuff. And then I think right around the time of the pandemic, actually, I was like, all right, I'm starting over. I want to just have it be stuff that I like, and I want it to be Blu-rays so it's nice and high quality. And there's a handful of movies that I kept from that original collection, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is one of them. This is one I've had for a while, and I picked it up at Barnes and Noble at some point. It was on sale. I remember that much over in Idaho Falls. So yeah, it's been one that I've watched a fair amount of times, even if it isn't one I revisit a lot. Again, it's been 6 years since I've watched this film last. But I remember it fondly, and it makes me cry every time I watch it. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my personal history with it.
Well then, yeah. I mean, I think then we can talk about the movie itself and kind of the story of it. First off, though, what do we feel about Jimmy Stewart in this movie?
I like him a lot. Like it's so interesting. You and I have talked about both on and off mic the like what makes a movie star, like what that particular quality is and what it has to be. And like you watch anything with Jimmy Stewart and you're like, yeah, I get it. Like this guy's he's got this magnetism to him. He's got like relatability is his superpower in every aspect. And I love watching his career and seeing directors play with that and like invert it in things like Vertigo, which I love. You know, it's just, I love taking the persona and history of somebody with such a storied career and writing that into your material and working around that, I think is really fascinating. But like you watch Jimmy Stewart in this and you're like, it's as fresh as the day it was shot, I think. Like I find him so likable and disarming, and yeah, he's naive and dumb and very impulsive, but like you get this guy, you know,
Yeah.
even if like you don't see yourself in him, you know a Jefferson Smith. And I think that goes a really long way in carrying the film and making you connect with it.
Yeah. I feel like it's sincerity and it's empathy that he gets across really well that contributes to the relatability. I think something that I was thinking watching him was, I was like, oh, I feel like there's so many guys who have pulled from this, like from him specifically in this movie, but him generally. Like, I feel like Chalamet doing Wonka, he's like, well, I'm going to do Jimmy Stewart. And like Josh O'Connor has a bit of him in there too. And like, I don't know if that's intentional, but I just feel like when someone is doing a sincere star-making performance, or if they are a star doing a performance, I feel like there's a line through to Jimmy Stewart in some way or another.
I can
just
totally
because
see that.
he is such an effortlessly relatable star, right?
Absolutely.
And it's really interesting. This is like 5 years into his acting career.
Nuts.
He started in 34 with like a short uncredited role. And then he's in like a Thin Man sequel. There's a bunch of stuff. He's in, then of course, you know, you get to You Can't Take It With You. And then does Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And then, you know, it's like, it's interesting how early this is for him, because even just watching this year, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just like, right, another great performance.
Yeah,
from
he
Jimmy
feels
Stewart.
so established already.
Yeah, he does.
Especially like in the company that he's keeping, you know, like Jean Arthur lights up the screen, is incredible in this whole movie. Like she's like, it is such a, you know, it's not the right film, obviously, but like when people think of His Girl Friday, they're thinking of this kind of performance, right? Like it's just like this very specific, like wiseacre, street smart woman of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And she's killing it.
100%. Like she's immediately so strong a presence in the movie. She's top billed for one thing.
Yeah. Which is rad.
It's Jean Arthur and Jimmy Stewart in.
Hell yeah.
But like she just kind of, she so perfectly fits this role, because you have Jimmy Stewart coming in who's just all, you know, a shamble and wide-eyed and starry-eyed and just kind of like truly playing naivete so well. And you need someone like Jean Arthur, who's been working since the silent era, to just be like, okay, here's how it works. Like,
this is what it is. Yeah.
She explains how Congress works, and you're riveted by it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you like, she could read you the phone book and you'd be like, yeah, okay,
Okay, great.
Yeah.
There's, I want to say this, like the shot of her when she first starts falling in love with Smith.
Yeah.
And it's just like prime peak Hollywood Vaseline,
Vaseline
on the lens, just glowing. She's just glowing. Her eyes are sparkling, and you're like, oh my God. The only person who gets even close to that level of looking at Jimmy Stewart with love is the actor playing the president of the Senate.
Yes.
The House
he's
leader,
so
like
good.
Speaker of the House. He's like, but man, the way he plays
little
it's like
lean on the hand.
It's like he has a crush on him. It's wild.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But she's so good. Apparently, she was born Gladys Georgiana Green.
Oh, there you go.
Good name. Good names.
Also, really quick, I had this revelation while I was watching the movie this time. I think Claude Rains is the greatest actor who ever lived. Like it just like, I don't know, just something about this time. I was just like, yeah, man. Like
really
he's
good.
he's incredible. And I've never seen him give a bad performance in anything. Like every single Claude Rains movie I've watched, I'm like, he's I think he's
well. Might as well give one of the best performances ever.
Look, if he's not the greatest actor ever lived, I think like certainly, because people will ask me a lot, like, who's your favorite actor? And I don't really like, usually it's David Tennant, just for like personal reasons.
Yeah, for personal reasons makes it sound like it's like a family, like something relating to like your family.
Yeah,
like,
and Doctor Who is that.
My grandfather
Yes.
my grandfather sent an email to everyone saying, hey, we all need to say David Tennant is our favorite actor. And you said, okay, for personal reasons, he is my favorite actor.
Yes. But like
for nostalgic reasons.
Yes, for nostalgic reasons, obviously.
And what he
and
meant
he's
to,
wonderful.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, but just like something about I just really latched on to Rains this time, and I was like, really God damn, he's so good. Like the gravitas this dude carries in like a tightening of his jaw.
Yeah, there's that great shot when they're in the hearing and Smith looks over at him and he's literally just sitting facing forward, but just his profile, you're just like, God, like you get such a sense of everything he's like, all the gears in his head turning as he's like very much aware of what he's doing to Jeff, but also is just like such a bastard about it too. Like it's like, such a rich performance from the beginning, from the minute that he's like, oh, my father, you know, like the way that he plays that and then looks over at Smith's mom and then looks back and he's just kind of like, he's just good. You're absolutely right.
He's incredible. Like and like the end of the movie, the thing that gets me to cry, like obviously Stuart's performance and this pleading he's doing is incredible, but just like the look on Claude Rains' face, those close-ups back to him as Jeff is on his knees hoarsely
like
whispering at him.
That's all I'm asking. Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. Like it just, I don't know. Like he was my MVP this watch. Like truly.
Fair enough.
I love him. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this. So the movie opens and a senator has died. Sam Foley is dead. And people are very nervous about that. And we get this chain of command of like all these phone calls happening, landing with this guy, Jim Taylor. And it's like, okay, Jim, what are we going to do? And we've established, it's very interesting that it like, I don't know what order it's in, but we see and we establish in dialogue, it's like a governor has heard about this, a senator has heard about this, and they're all going to a different guy named Jim Taylor to ask what he thinks about this. And so we very quickly established this power dynamic. And it's like, okay, he was in our pocket. He was in all the way. We need somebody who isn't going to ask questions, who will just vote the way we want them to vote. And originally, Jim Taylor has a guy in mind. He says, I can't remember the dude's name, but he's like, let's get this dude. And the governor's like, my voters won't go for that guy. They know he's corrupt. Like there's nothing like his reputation's already out.
He goes to them and he says who he's going to choose. And like the popular committees are like, no, like he's
a Taylor man. Like they know who Jim Taylor is.
They know who Jim Taylor is.
Yeah.
So they select someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They tell him, well, you should do this.
Yeah. And he comes back again and he's like, I don't know what to do. He's getting berated by his children at dinner. His 4 sons are just eating him alive.
The thing that cracks me up about this scene is obviously it's very funny to just have like 4 young boys just being like, Dad, don't do that, Dad. What you gotta do? You gotta choose Jeff Smith. He's the best. But like watching this, I am reminded of when I went to visit my cousin and his family in DC. Like I was staying with them for a time, and he asked. It was 2024. The election's coming up, and he's like, "Who would you?" He asks. He's got like 4 or 5 kids. He's like, "Who would you guys choose? Who would you want to run? Who would you vote for?" His son is just like Mr. Beast.
I knew it.
And I'm like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
This. So now I can't watch this scene without thinking about them being like,
really
"Well, come on, Dad, what you gotta do? You gotta choose Mr. Beast." He's like, "I don't
Mr.
know who that is. Is that a man?"
Don't know who that is. He's only the greatest YouTuber in the world.
Yeah. It's just
That's funny. Yeah. That's really funny.
Mr. Beast goes to Washington.
Yeah.
Pitching it. I'm pitching it officially.
Perfect. And so he storms off and he goes into his office and he's going back and forth about who he wants to pick. Like who the people have voted for and said they want versus who Jim Taylor wants him to tick. And he's like, all right, heads him, tails the other guy. And he flips the coin and he looks away and he looks down and the coin has landed on edge leaning against a newspaper. And the newspaper, the front of the newspaper page is about Jeff Smith and putting out this wildfire. And he goes, and he says, that's good enough for me.
And it's just this moment of like, it's the tiniest amount of just little bit of magic in the movie. And I feel like Capra is really good at that. And the script is like, the script plays that very well. It's not overplayed. It's funny enough, but also it like moves everything along. Just like a perfect little device. Like, let's just do it this way.
It's so interesting. Like, and his from what I've seen, other than like, something like Lost Horizon, like Capra doesn't delve into the fantastical a lot. It's just that It's a Wonderful Life holds such a huge presence culturally that like when you watch this, the first time you watch it, there's a part of your brain's like, is an angel going to show up at the end of this movie? Like, is this divine intervention of some kind? Because it's got, just like you said, that little sprinkle of magic on it.
Well, I mean, like, just looking at his big movies, right? It's like, you look at, like, It Happened One Night. That is a movie that is made of magic. Like, every piece of that feels like fantasy, even though it is entirely grounded in reality, but it's this romantic fantasy.
Yeah.
Something that he was just so good at, and I think what speaks to the point of, like, he invented America for the movies, is that he has this way of, like, I don't know. And again, like, I want to give credit to other crew members. I want to give credit to writers of things as well. But there is undeniably, like, a certain amount of magic to Capra's, like, major hits. I can't speak to his other films. I haven't seen many. But he just kind of, like, they just operate on this sense of, like, that makes sense. You just go, that makes sense, And that's kind of the magic of it. And I think that's what this does here. This one little coin flip is just like, yeah, that makes sense. Here we go. Like, I buy in,
Yeah. Yeah. So we get this big ceremony. Jeff has been selected. I don't know all the specifics of, like, there is no special election. He's just picked because the guy passed away.
It's an honorary nomination, is what they say in the movie, right? It's basically, if a senator dies while in office and there's not time for a special election, whatever, the governor selects someone to fill out the rest of the term until the election.
And so Taylor is furious about this, and the governor is like, no, he's like, he's a boy scout, like, he's a boy ranger. He'll do whatever he tells you. Like, he's young, he's dumb, he's stupid. Like, he'll do whatever. He idolizes this guy.
He's from the countryside.
Recites Lincoln and Washington by heart. He's a country bumpkin. It'll be fine. And at this big event, Jeff points out that he's like, I'm thrilled to be working with Senator Payne. I don't know if you remember me, but you knew my father very well. And that's when he makes that little connection moment. They have a really lovely conversation on the train about it, where Jeff lays out that, what happened to his dad. And Payne is talking about, he's like, yeah, I knew him in school. We were the patron saints of lost causes, like that was our thing.
Well, that's, and Jeff says that. He's like, my father always used to say that, the only cause worth fighting for was a lost cause.
Literally got him killed. Like, he got shot in the back.
It feels like a metaphor when he first says it, of like, I'm the one who found him. Shot in the back. You're almost like, oh, but that's like old timey
because he was murdered.
Because he was helping a
miner.
Like a miner
against the mining company. He was fighting for his rights and compensation.
He got killed by the mining company.
Yeah.
And
it's
just like
crazy.
And again, that's why I'm like, I think that people who do know about this movie, there's this perception of that's just going to be like a light, puffy propaganda piece, right? Yeah. That's what I thought going in. I was like, this is going to be pretty, like,
sure.
But it's like, there's real grit to the backstories of this.
Yeah.
And like the machines at work that feels very real and dark in that way. Like, it's like, no, Jeff Smith's dad was shot in the back. He was killed by a corporation for trying to defend one man.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Totally. And like, so this scene specifically was one that like highlighted for me early on my like fixation on Claude Rains, is that oftentimes, and this is not a knock against these other actors. These other actors are doing phenomenal work, but like, there is something that happens a lot in old Hollywood where the score will rush in and tell you what to feel exactly the moment you need to feel it. Like, it just, anytime anybody is talking in a monologue, it will be underscored. Silence is not allowed. Yeah, and it's not allowed here either. Like, there is underscoring as Claude Rains is talking, but I'm watching his performance and I'm like, I bet you on the day, like, as they're filming that, like, you don't even need it. Like, you're feeling everything you need to feel about that, like, long stare of, like, still with his hat on. Still with his hat on. Like, you just, you feel it. Like, you don't, it's there, You're not listening to it though. You're fully locked in on Claude Rains, and he's great. So they get to Washington, and Jeff gives them the slip immediately because he's like the Capitol Dome. And he just goes on a sightseeing tour. Monument. You get this whirlwind montage. We get more of it later, which I'll speak to, but like this montage and one that comes later feel very much to me like it's like, man, Capra must have been crazy about Eisenstein. Like there is so much like Battleship Potemkin in these montages that's crazy. It's so out of place with the rest of like classic Hollywood styling.
Yeah. Well, so this first one, remind me what this first one is.
It's all the sites. It's the Liberty Bell.
With the flag.
The flag and all of that. He goes to the Lincoln Memorial, the kids reciting the Gettysburg Address. Like, it's all of that. Which again, to your point of like interesting choices that Capra is making for a 1939 film, it's this very wizened old man standing there with what we can assume to be his grandson. And his grandson is sounding out the words of the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah. And as he's talking, we cut back and forth between these two people and Jeff listening. And then there is an older black man who walks in. And we get a lot of close-ups of him kind of looking up very sentimentally at, Lincoln and listening to this kid talk. And again, with modern eyes and a modern lens, it may feel very saccharine and it may feel talking down in a big way. But like for 1939, that's still a pretty bold choice.
It is.
You know?
To pretty directly like speak to in 1939 of like, okay, but do you remember what Lincoln...
Yeah.
Do
you remember what the Civil War was about?
Did? The Civil War was about? Like, that was what the Gettysburg Address, what the war was fought for? Like, because it's so easy for people to be like, Lincoln, you know, he's a great man, but it's like, right. But like, you know.
Well, it's just, again, it's something that like, even nowadays is a weirdly taboo talking point for people. Like, well, the Civil War was about states' rights. Like, states' rights to do what? Like, just say it out loud.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I also feel like there's just kind of the swing of like, well, Lincoln didn't do shit. He actually was racist too. And I go, fair enough.
Yeah.
But also that takes away the agency of all the people who pushed change to happen.
Right.
Like, I'm like, that's ultimately what my takeaway from this movie is. Mm-hmm. Again, is like, I feel pride not in the system, but in the people who force the system to do better.
Exactly.
That's the point of the movie, right?
Yeah. So he goes around, and then we meet Saunders. Saunders works as a secretary to Senator
the
Payne's
office of this
state.
The office
Unnamed
of this state's senators.
And she is just sharp as a tack, like so whip crack smart, like just on the dime all the time. She's wonderful. I love anytime I get to see Thomas Mitchell in a movie. He's always great. He's just, he's really just such a fun presence to have around. And I love too, looking at his body of work in a similar to Claude Rains of like seeing the range these guys had. Like, character actor used to be a job. We don't have that anymore. Like you might luck into it if you started acting in the 70s and have kind of, you're now there, but it's such a rare thing now of like, you can't just walk in and do that anymore. And you could back then because it was the way the studio system worked. You needed a catalog of actors, and not all of them could be leading men and leading ladies. You needed people to fill out the ensemble and be interesting and add flavor and texture to your films. And Thomas Mitchell did that in droves. And I love Diz. I think Diz is really fun.
And he works, which is a relief.
Yeah.
Because the idea of older man who is a news reporter who, like, they literally do this in The West Wing, right? Like CJ, played by Allison Janney, has this reporter who she has an on and off affair with, and I found him unbelievably irritating. and this walks the line well, where he's not like, Saunders is whip smart, and he can talk to her, but he's not also being snarky all the time. Like, he plays along, you know, but he's not just the same person. He doesn't talk down to her for the most part. He's pathetic in just the right way. You know, you don't want him to be any further along the lines of like, well, why don't we just get married? You know, you don't want him to be that. But he works. Like, to Thomas Mitchell's credit, he works really well. Yeah.
I agree.
Diz and Saunders are fun.
They're hanging out of the office, and she is just, you know, beside herself that this has happened, that they've just
he's
roped
5
in.
hours late.
He's 5 hours late. Nobody knows where he is. And it's funny that they're all freaking out about what would normally be the scandal points of like, he's probably drunk off his ass somewhere. He's probably, you know, he's whoring it up. And it's like, no, he's just like taking in the sights. Like he just lost track of time.
He simply loves America too much.
Yep. And he stumbles in, and immediately neither one of them know what to do with this guy. They're just like, who are you? Like, I can't believe you're a real person. And Saunders plays it to her advantage very quickly. One of the reporter buddies is like, hey, like, can you give me the inside scoop on this guy if you talk to him? And she's like, well, all right, like, what's in it for me? And you get all of your buddies around, because she's like, I'm leaving, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore.
She very specifically is like, you get a little tiny amount of it at the train station, but this is the minute we're with Saunders is the minute that she's like, this whole system sucks. This all sucks. Why am I still here? I should have left years ago.
Yeah. So she's like, I'll burn it down on my way out the door. So yeah, have a field day with him. And so they all ambush him that night and just get him to make a fool of himself in front of the cameras. And they have a field day in the papers about it.
It's really funny.
It is
I
very
hate to
funny.
admit it. It's
really funny.
Sorry, Jeff.
And everybody is aghast by what's happened. And Payne confronts her about it. And he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm leaving town. I'm done here. He's like, no. He's like, you're much too important. You're really good at your job. He's like, I will put in a hefty bonus for you if you just stay and handle him. Like, just keep an eye on this guy and just keep him from sticking his nose in anything he shouldn't know about. She's like, including Willett Creek Dam. And he closes the door. He's like, yeah, including Willett Creek Dam. Yeah. And did they already lay this out in the opening of the movie?
That is at the top of the movie.
That's the top of the movie.
They talk about it because Jim Taylor's concerned.
Yes. So
like, no, we'll get a guy who won't even.
The short version of this is that Jim Taylor owns the land surrounding Willett Creek and all of that area, and there is a bill that is being put forward, like a public goods bill. And in the middle of that bill is they're going to construct a dam on the area around including Willett Creek.
They've grafted this section on, section 40 of the bill.
Yes. And so what will happen is that the government is going to buy that land, which Jim Taylor has hiked the price up way, way up on. And he and all of his friends, including Senator Payne, are going to get a huge payout from it. Like, basically, they are both initiating the supply and the demand. It's insider trading, but for land rights. You know, that's what's going on.
Well, and the good news is that, you know, Congress members don't do insider trading.
Yeah, they're not allowed to
anymore.
do that.
They're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, but never, ever happen.
No
never
one
again.
does that.
No one does that. And so that's the big scandal.
Mr. Beast goes to Washington, I'll tell you
how much. So that's what they're trying to keep.
I don't need to do that. I'm sorry. I paid... 100 senators. I paid 100 senators $1 million to not do insider trading.
Let's see how long it takes them to crack.
Let's see how The comments. What? I'm 10. I don't understand this.
I'm 10. I don't get this. Where's the slime?
These 100 congressmen are trapped in a room, and they have to choose between getting slimed or continuing to do insider trading. Let's see what they choose.
Oh, dear. So that's the big secret they're trying to keep from Jeff, right? Like, that's the thing, is that he can't know about this because he is too honest for that, and they know that. They're like, if he hears a whiff about this, he's going to start asking questions, and he's not going to stop until he gets answers. So just keep him off the scent. At a certain point, Taylor tells Payne that he needs to use his daughter to distract him because they're gonna present the bill in Congress and he's not supposed to be there. They're like, please just get him out of here. We don't want him here.
So they have Payne's daughter.
Yep.
It's earlier than that because that's a little later. But there's the scene where Jeff and Susan Payne have this scene together where he's so flustered by her, and Capra chooses to focus on the hat.
Yeah, the hands in the hat. Yeah,
the hands in the hat, gorgeous.
Just great.
Big fan of that.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really lovely because that is right because he's in front of Congress to be presented, and they're like, hey, you are making a disgrace of this office. Look what happened in the papers. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like he's mortified that this has happened. This is the second montage. He goes around town.
And we need to talk about this.
Yes, he goes around town punching every reporter who was there.
Both times I've watched this movie, I start the montage going, and this is a fantasy. Yeah. Because it starts on location, him walking away from the Capitol building, and then we fade into rear projection.
Yeah.
And then he's punching people. And so in my head, I'm like, that's a really clever way to do a fantasy. It's not.
No, he's actually doing
these guys
that
for real. And there's like the flashes of texture.
The flash and the patterns. Like again, it's so Eisenstein. It's crazy.
It's weirdly, it feels weirdly experimental and cartoonish for what it is. And for Capra.
It feels like a vestige of the silent era being pulled in a big way.
It does.
And I think it's a great little, it's just fun. It's just a fun stylistic break.
And the culmination of it, of arriving in that bar and them all crowding around him and being like, you want the truth? Okay, why don't you have this drink? It tastes better than the truth.
When they all start talking in unison, I'm like, they're going to break out into a song. Like they're gonna start singing at him. Like now it's a musical, and they're gonna do some song about hey, you gotta get street smart, Like, but this energy.
I love that scene.
Because
the energy of the montage going into that, and then them all literally he's sitting.
Yeah, and they're all just kind of leaning over on chairs,
leaning over him, just being like, "Listen here."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great bit of
and they
bullying,
give him a dressing down.
Bullying.
They're like, "You don't know what you're doing here. Like you are here to fill a seat." And that's it. Like,
and he says, like, well, the American people deserve to know the truth. And they're like, we're the only ones who can afford to tell the truth more than any politician.
Yeah, he's like, we don't have to be worried about getting reelected, do we? Like, we can tell the truth because our job isn't on the line.
Yeah.
And so then he goes to Senator Payne and he's like, no, but they're right about me. Like what am I doing here if I don't do anything? Like I should be reading these bills. I should know what I'm voting on. He's like, no, Jeff, just vote the way I tell you to vote. And he's like, look, I trust you. You know that, but like, I want to do my job and
there's no reason for me to be here.
Yeah.
And then he successfully distracts him by being like, well, surely, Willet Creek.
Yeah, he's like, write a bill.
Mm-hmm. Write a bill. You said you wanted to do a national park. It's not about the creek yet. He's like, you want
to do a boys' park. Do a boys' park. Yeah. Write a bill about that. Thinking that he's like, it'll take him a long time to do this.
Yeah.
And
then that's when Susan comes in. Yes. You get the hat. Yes, you get the hat stumbling around.
Mm-hmm.
It just
knocks over the lamp, almost walks out with the lampshade as his hat.
Just doing great work. Also really nice after setting up, like, his father always wore his hat to do battle.
Yeah.
And now it's just Jeff fumbling with his hat. He's like, it's literally he is disarmed by Susan Payne.
Yes,
like he cannot do battle because he's fiddling with his hat with her in front of him, right? He's flustered.
Yeah.
And so he goes straight back to the office, catches Saunders, and is like, I gotta write a bill.
This might be my favorite scene in the movie, both for like the heartwarming delivery, but also the comedy is just perfect here. Like I like guffawed, like big laugh out loud at he's like, Saunders, you have a first name, don't you? She's like, well, yes, but that's no concern. He's like, no concern, that's fine. He's like, I was just picturing a pump without a handle or something. Like, it's just the way he delivers that is so funny,
and it's written very well, and also like there's like just the little breaks. It's a really good example of exposition as well.
Yeah,
of just like how to break up your exposition, because it's pretty expository heavy, but like
totally.
The moments where they choose to have Saunders be like, oh my, like, do you get it? Like, do you see where we're going with this? And he's like, no, keep going.
I love the framing device of where were we? We're in the house.
Yes,
we're here.
We're in the house.
Like, yes.
Oh, yes, we're in the house. Like, it's nice. And it explains the American government system very well.
Yeah.
From the House, from the Senate.
I mean, truly, like between this and I'm Just a Bill from Schoolhouse Rock, like that was my understanding of how laws worked.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
And again, like she gets to the end of all this and she's like, it's going to take forever. And she ends with, and then on the day your bill's up, Congress adjourns. She's like, do you see what I'm doing? And he's like,
yeah.
Okay, order dinner.
So we actually get started. He's got so many good like pauses and then jump back in. The other one that I love is when he keeps badgering her about her first name, and she's like Clarissa, because he's like everybody calls you Saunders, but you got a first name, right? And he starts guessing all these ridiculous names. She's like, no. She's like Clarissa. He says Clarissa. Huh. Okay, Saunders. Like just drops it immediately.
It's very funny.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's good. And like, but it's great because it's what we talked about and have talked about so many times on the show. Like, we are taking the time for us to fall in love with Jeff Smith. Yeah. Like, we get to see why she is charmed by him. We get to see that he is funny, that he can be flirty and cute and interesting. He's not just a country bumpkin with like stars in his eyes.
He's not, like he truly is just like...
He has substance.
He has substance. He has charm.
Yeah.
And what do you make of his big, long speech about how they should put the dome in the boys' park so the boys get something out of it? The boys need the boys. The boys and the boys.
I mean, again, it's... I don't know, because it's that weird split in my brain that happens between my personal predilection towards sentimentality in film. It's what we talked about of like, you and I are both glad we saw Disclosure Day before everybody else got to it.
I gotta tell you, I was gonna talk about Disclosure Day on this episode anyway. So we'll talk about that at the end. But yes, I.
But I am so in sync with sentimentality and optimism, both in life and in film. And like Jimmy Stewart talking earnestly about anything, I'm going to buy into him, right? Like that's the thing is like, I'm buying into him and what he believes about what is America. Like,
you feel it with him. The movie convinces you to.
And that's the thing that I latch on to versus all of these friction points of like, I've discovered it so much in my life that like Jeff Smith believes in America. America does not believe in or acknowledge Jeff Smith.
Not at all.
Like that's the thing is that like we were taught that this was a two-way relationship and it isn't.
It is not.
Like it just isn't.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing I've learned to let go of.
Yeah. I think for me, this speech from him, I think it serves its purpose well. I think it's done a great service by the way that Gene Andrews looks at him.
Yeah.
Like again, Gene Arthur looks at him, just like the way that Saunders looks at him. Like that sells it so much for me, the way when he's talking, because I'm thus seeing him through her eyes, which really helps me because obviously like I do have certain limits. And when he's waxing on about it, I am just kind of like, yeah, all right, dude. Yeah. Get those American values in the boys. Yeah. All right. Like it feels the most dated to me of the movie, but also that's fine. I don't care.
It's
because
like
it works. It works in the movie.
There is
like,
yeah. No, there's one line in here that still works for me. Despite it all, there's one line in here in this moment that I think does still speak to me pretty fundamentally, is that he's like, freedom is something you should hold in your hands and look at every day. He's like, my ancestors weren't free. I am. And my children will be. And like, that is something that is of value. And I think about that of
and that's a human value.
That's a human value. That's not an American value. It's a human value. But like, that is something that I think does still speak to me of like, we've seen so many blatant attacks on free speech in so many ways. And yet free speech still exists. For better and for worse, free speech exists. And like, that is something that I think is not exclusive to America by any means, but is still pretty foundational within the society. And I can I can latch on to that.
Something that we unfortunately really have to fight for now.
Yes, naturally.
There's a lot of opposition to that. I agree. I think that is a very effective line in that moment. And Saunders is convinced.
Yeah,
you know,
she
still doesn't want to write the bill, really, but
no. He's going to keep her up all night. They're going to be working on this forever. And that's the thing, is that Payne was like, okay, this will be like weeks. This will be forever. And he gets it done in a night. And then, again, she's kind of doing this for her own amusement. She's like, this will be funny. This will be funny also, to put him up and make him do this. Is
she the one who suggests Willet Creek Dam?
Yes. He does. He's like,
he does.
She doesn't stop him. Is that he mentions Willet Creek Dam. She's like, have you ever heard of it? She's like, no. And he's like, well, of course not. You said you never been there. She's like, have you talked to Senator Payne about this? And he's like, no, I mean, I talked to him about the boys' camp. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's just, she's putting the pieces together because she wants to watch the fireworks. Like, she's telling Dish,
and
like,
I love, I think
happens.
she plays that perfectly with Thomas Mitchell in the next morning when she goes in and she's like, get ready for the show.
Yeah.
She's like, he's going to say Willet Creek Dam, and that was
these two are going to freak out.
These two are going to fly out of their seats, right? And it is delightful, and there's still a lot of humor to get out of Jeff Smith. Like, it's not like now, again, there's like a more annoying propagandy kind of version of this movie where he speaks so stoically about America that now he doesn't get to be funny anymore, you know. But they get to have him speaking like, Mr. President,
they give him a limp dick joke, you know, like he's got his flaccid paper.
Yes,
it's funny,
and his voice is all shaky, and he says it, and it is again, it's fun to watch Claude Rains.
The key factor of all of this is that he's like, this will be a camp for the boys, and the government won't even pay for it. The boys will pay for it with nickels and dimes, and it'll pay back over time. But like, this is an investment in the future of America. This is not a bill. Like, I'm not giving you a financial, like, all right, here's your tab. You know, like, boys will pay this back. And that is a load-bearing aspect of what this bill is. Payne freaks out. Taylor freaks out. And Taylor shows up. He comes to town to talk. Jim Taylor goes to Washington.
Mr. Taylor goes
to Washington. He shows up. Also, quick shout out to Edward Arnold's. I love his brimless glasses. I love the little nose clench, because like, did you notice that there aren't any earpieces? It's just the little ones that like you used to clench on your nose. And I'm like, God, that's good. We got to bring those back. They're so good. But he's got a great presence. He's really, really menacing in this movie.
It's operating off of like, Sidney Greenstreet of the Maltese Falcon, where it's just like, what if there was a big man?
What if there was a big man? He was intimidating, and like watching him curtail Claude Rains and put him in his place tells you everything about his power. I love this scene because he shows up and he's like, Jim, this is ridiculous. He's like, you can't do this. You can't steamroll me like this. You should not be in town. That's dangerous for all of us. He's like, and I'm not going to let you crucify that boy. Like, I will not stand by. I won't stand for it. And Taylor's like, well, all right, I guess, you go in. You tell him. You tell this starry-eyed dreamer who loves you so much that you've been lying to him and everyone in your state. And if he needs facts, tell him to come straight to me, because I'll have them all. I'll tell him everything he needs to know. But hey, we've had a good run. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And that the walk away.
He also says, he's like, we've had a good run. He's like, I'll just have to find someone who has a little more sense.
Yeah. He's like, since you don't have the stomach for this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, I'll just, put someone else in office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Claude Rains is like, Jim, just don't be too hard on him. Yeah. And I love, he's like, you had me worried there for a minute. You had me really scared. And he's like, nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You go on back to the office. I'll take care of this. In walks Jefferson Smith, and they have this talk, and he explains, he's like, Payne votes how I tell him to vote. And that's the straw that Jeff's like, you're a liar. I don't believe like that. I will not stand for that. And he walks out and he leaves. And then he goes,
is that also the scene when he's talking to Payne where he says, I'll break him so bad that and
they won't be able to find the pieces.
They won't be able to find him. The pieces. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll break him open so bad they won't be able to find the pieces. Very menacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
sorry, I just wanted to highlight that line.
It's a good line. And like, just, you haven't seen what he can do, but you buy it. Like, he has a gravitas to him that you're like, you're worried for Jeff.
Well, and like, again, it's not him, but there's been the establishment at the top of the movie that like Jefferson Smith's dad was killed by corruption, like by big money.
Yeah,
so it's like you feel a sense of stakes. When Jim Taylor says that, you're not like, well, that wouldn't happen because this is a movie. You're like, no, the movie has very much established that is rules in this world.
Yes, that's how this works.
Yeah.
And so Jeff goes to Payne and he's like, I called him a liar. Like, is it true? And he's like, you have to understand. Like, I've served our state well. He's like, we have more grants than anybody else. We have all these wonderful things. He's like, I had to make compromises. I had to play ball with these people. And that's what I do. Like, I do that so you don't have to. But yes, like, yeah, I have to, like, I've had to work with this guy. And I can't, he has a phrase in there where he's like, basically the idea of like, yes, I do this one unethical thing so I can do a million other honest things. And isn't that worth it? Like, isn't that enough that I can serve us so well in this regard, even though I have to do this one bad thing that I know is bad and you know is bad, but it's for the greater good. And he's like, I'm begging you, please. All you have to do when the bill comes up tomorrow, don't say anything. Just sit there, let it pass in silence. We'll get you your boys' camp. We'll get everything we need. Everything will be fine. Just don't say anything about the Willet Creek Dam. And Jeff is like, I don't know. And he leaves and he doesn't know what he's going to do. And he tries to speak up and he gets recognized by the chair. And this moment, like, it makes me want to cry every time it happens, of just like the sheer betrayal of trust that occurs immediately. Of Jeff stands up to speak and immediately Payne stands up and he says, will the senator yield? And he says, yeah, of course. Like, of course. And Payne tears into him, just immediately goes for the throat. He's like, it has come to my attention that my colleague put forth a bill for his own benefit. I have found evidence that he owns the land that he's proposing to build this boys' park on. He's basically just taking everything that is actually happening with the Taylor graft and pinning it on Jeff and saying, actually, he's doing this scheme for his own thing. Has nothing to do with Willet Creek, has nothing to do with our bill. It's him.
He owns this land.
Yep.
And therefore he will benefit financially. And he's not taking money from the government, he's taking money from these boys.
From the boys of America.
Yeah.
And we get, like, as he's saying all of this, the little page boys in the gallery are all taking off their buttons and toss them in the garbage. Like, it instantaneously turns on him, like, so quickly. And then we get this montage of all of these trials and hearings and seeing the full force of what the Taylor machine can do. Of they've forged documents, they've bribed people, the governor and the lackey back home and this other dude, like, everybody is in on it, and they have all of these witnesses and all of these signatures.
They bring in the guy from home. They bring in 3 different
signature experts.
The job that only exists in movies, which is a guy who knows handwriting so well that he can prove it's real, you know?
I do love that the middle guy is like, this is a forgery. Like, I like that it's like, it's left uncertain in their eyes of evidence. But like, it's enough, like the sheer volume of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we get this great shot that you're talking about of Claude Rains, of just like dead ahead. And
they invite Jeff to speak and he just storms out.
He just runs out. Yeah.
Which is key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay, I completely forgot. The reason that Jeff finds out about all this is that Saunders gets drunk. Saunders because she knows what's going to happen to him. She's heard about, like, Susan calls her and she's like, hey, can you keep him busy? I'm supposed to take him out on the town. And she's like, I'm not gonna be part of no murder. I'm not gonna stand by and watch him kill this kid, basically. And so she gets drunk with Diz. She goes, she clears out. And while she's there, she gives him this whole spiel. She's like, look at this bill. They're going to build this dam where your boys' camp is supposed to go. And you don't know anything about it because you're stupid, because you're a moron. You don't know anything. That's how he finds out about all of this.
Yes.
Which is important because once he runs out and leaves, he goes back to the Lincoln Memorial and just cries, like just gets on the steps and just weeps. And it's like Jimmy Stewart crying is always going to get me. Like it's just, again, vulnerability is his superpower.
Well, there's also, she has this great line, and I don't know, this PDF of the script I have in front of me is a little different in places.
Sure.
But she has this great line where he's like, "Oh, Saunders, you should have seen it." And she just cuts him off. And it's just like, "I know, don't tell me. It was a wonderful party. Your suit went over big and she looked beautiful and she gave her hand when you left her and said, 'Thank you, Mr. Smith.' Oh, but it was the way she said it. You'd like to fall through the floor. Horseradish." Like she immediately is just like, tearing into him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Are you drunk?" And she's like, "Certainly. You didn't think I was a lady, did you? You don't think a lady would be working for this outfit? Even I can't take it anymore. I quit. Can't take a lot of things." Like, and then that's what, but I just wanted to highlight it's
a great line. It's a
great line. Yeah. Also really funny that Diz is just standing in the back, like hand on his hip, resting against the wall. And she's like, "Meet the man I'm going to marry."
And anyway. I love that button of like, she comes and finds him weeping on the steps and he goes, "Hello, Saunders. How's your husband?"
And she goes, "What? Oh, no, we didn't get married." But she's not. Is that when she's back?
Yeah. Yeah, because she disappears
that
the whole rest of that
flies by,
time.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I love this is. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Okay. You go ahead because I got to find the scene because I want to read it basically line for line.
It's another one of those. We talked about this on It's a Wonderful Life. These Capra Stewart joints are so good of demonstrating, like, the heroines supporting the male heroes and like giving them the drive to win. And I love that. Like, I love that she is the one that gets him back on his feet. And she gives him the game plan. She comes up with the scheme. She's got the plot from day one of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to go back in there and you're going to fight and you're going to win and it's going to be tough. It's a 40-foot dive into a tub of water, but I think you can do it, Yeah. And it's something that I love about Capra's female characters. I think that between her and Mary, I just love the way that these are so self-actualized, driven three-dimensional characters. Like she's not just an archetype. She is not there to be the love interest. She is not there to just be won over and like, it's not him sanding off her cynical edges. It's her giving him the street smarts to stay alive. And I love that.
Yes, I think that's exactly the point, right? Because it's not that she, and this script has really let me down because whatever changes they made to the shooting script is
sure.
I prefer it, but at no point is she like, "You're right about America.
Yeah,
it's good. This country is good." And you were right, and you got to prove them all wrong,
Yeah.
It is so specifically worded in a way that I adore, where it's just about him, where she's like, "You came to this believing, like, you can, like," I can't even specify.
It's about personal, it's like, it's individual perseverance, because she's like, "Hey, that Lincoln guy had his tailors in his day too. You know that?"
Yes,
like,
and she's specifying like the tailors of the world, and she says like, hang on, where is it?
Yeah.
There's this moment where she says, see, like in the script, there's like this line about David and Goliath, and I go, I don't remember that. They don't say that in the movie, do they?
I mean, that comes up in the newspaper thing. Like Diz says that in the headline,
yeah.
but I don't know that she does.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't want to have dead air
while
I scroll. But she says, like, yeah, and really light up that dome for once. This country could use some of that. So could all the wording is just, this country needs something new.
It needs you. Like, it needs your brand of pep.
And I think that's what I like about it, is that it's not, you can return America to its glory.
It's not Make America Great Again.
It's not. And that's what I find refreshing, is that it is like, even though she's using words like the tailors of these men, the tailors and the Paines, it's like, it just feels, and it's because I'm an America-hating leftist or whatever you want to call me, but I just appreciate that this isn't a movie that is about how great America is. It's about how America's systems regularly allow for rampant corruption, and it unfortunately falls on like the individual.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that individual means a community of individuals to stand up against it and make change and do their, and like, it's so daunting. And oftentimes the only victory you can actually make is getting one guy to admit he was corrupt, and also it killed you, right? Like, he's not dead, but it basically functionally kills him for the movie.
Totally.
You know, we don't see him bounce back.
Yeah.
It is like it drains him to the end of the movie to get one small victory that the movie treats as if it is the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this movie land so hard for me, is it's not, and in one fell swoop, one man solved all of corruption. Because that's a problem that American media really loves to push on us, and is something that I've seen people talk about as we see this massive amount of rampant corruption and control of the media and restricting of rights in our country right now, is that so much of American media is either about one person doing a miraculous thing to save everyone, or it's about a group of people saving to fight what used to be in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
There is not a lot of American media that is about preventing things from getting worse. And if it is, it's like one guy who does one thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that that is the American myth. And so this movie is playing into the American myth in the fact that it's like, what if Jefferson Smith was so great that he could make change? But it doesn't go all the way into that myth, because his victory isn't Jim Taylor goes to prison.
Right.
His victory isn't all the corrupt senators are dead or go to jail, right? His only victory is a personal one, in which he like wakes Payne up to who he is and how rotten he's become. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that Saunders isn't here to be like, blah, blah, blah. It's like she very much is doing it also from her own character still. Like you said, she doesn't just automatically become this random person. It's just like, you're so wonderful. It is that, but it's also like, I don't know. You said it better.
No, I love it. I think that's some really great points. And like, that's the thing that I really latch onto, is just that she gives him like the step-by-step plan. He keeps looking to her for guidance as all of this is happening. He's like, when do I speak? She's like, wait, now. Okay, go to Rule 5, Section 3. Like, she knows this stuff in a way that he doesn't. She's so much smarter than he is.
And also, like, he says, like, he goes to Lincoln Memorial, like, Mr. Lincoln didn't have a lot to say. And it's like, right, because, like, as much as you can look to these people and these words of American history and these words of what America stands for, it's ultimately still up to you in the present moment to use those words and adapt those words to your moment, right?
Yeah.
He only reads from the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence as a means to fill time and also to say, well, now that's a part that I really love, right? Like, you can't just be like, Mr. Lincoln, what do I do? It's like, no, Saunders is going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Who's been in the system for years, and you know,
she knows.
It's great, and she's pulling the strings a little bit.
Yeah, and so he does the filibuster.
1939, Tommy Lee Jones lets it happen.
Yes,
I feel like he looks like Tommy Lee Jones.
I can see a little bit of that.
He's got a Tommy Lee Jones energy.
So he does his filibuster. He just says, "All right, I am going to sit here and I'm going to talk at you," and all of the senators leave in protest, and he has to pull the rule book on him. And he's like, all right, I'm the majority. The majority is demanding you all come back, so get in here.
It's really
Which
good.
is really funny.
But then they're all just sitting and reading.
Yeah, nobody's listening to him. But also on top of that, Taylor is locking everything down. Nothing he's saying is getting back to his home state. And we get another
he's pulling a Hearst.
Yeah, he's pulling a Hearst. And we get another really, like, genuinely affecting montage of calling back home to the boys club. All right, he's got this paper boys stuff. We'll print it there. We get these huge industrial machines of the Taylor machine printing papers and going around. And we cut back to these ragtag group of boys that we talked about earlier, making their papers and going out with their dogs and their wagons and their bicycles. And then when Taylor finds out this is happening, they go after the kids.
Yeah,
like
they crash a car in front of
a car
wagon
into
of
children.
Kids. Yes.
It's like that one in particular.
And then they cut
back
and someone literally says they're hurting the kids.
They're like tell Jeff to stop. Like in tears.
Yeah, kids
like,
are getting hurt.
Kids are getting hurt over this, and that's another thing that like you think like on the outside this movie feels like such a fluff piece.
Exactly.
But you get into it, and it's like it is about corruption and political murder and political violence against children. Like, that's crazy.
And also specifically the children as not a stand-in, but like a representation of like people's movement, grassroots movements, right? We're literally cutting and It's crazy that Frank Capra's doing, like it's so wild for people to be like, well, he invented magic of America. And I go, this movie counts too. And again, like, that's why I'm like, if people, reading letterbox reviews of this and people are like, whoa, America's great. And I go, no, actually, what's crazy is it does tap in, not crazy, it's very intentional.
Yes.
It taps into the actual change makers of American history by cutting between, and then I want you to say your point because I'm very excited. But literally the kids are these grassroots, they're making zines basically.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want the political comparison, they're literally going up against mass media. Yeah. They're going up against the newspaper companies. One of the great villains of American history is the newspaper companies, monopolies. Taylor in this situation, like watching this, Amy was like, like she's raising a reasonable question of like, how much time is passing? Like, how long is he supposed to be filibustering for? And I'm like, and this is why I bring up Disclosure Day. This is why I was going to bring up Disclosure Day.
Okay.
Because I just think we need to be a little more fantasy-minded with movies, guys. I think it's weird to watch a movie, and I'm not saying Amy was doing this. She asked a reasonable question. But I just feel like there's this tendency right now, because we don't know how to do escapism anymore in our brains, of being like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't happen. And I'm just like, but if the movie, unless it's a movie that is like, this is real life. But again, there's been a tiny bit of magic to this throughout, I feel. My point is just, I get so caught up in this that I don't mind that I'm like, yeah, how much time is passing? I think by the end of all the montages, they say it's been 23 hours. And I go, yeah, fair enough. Like, fine. I'm cool with that. Like, this is fine.
Yeah.
And like, that's just like, I don't know, when everyone's like, I don't think anyone would care if aliens are real. And I go, but do you see that is the point the filmmaker is making?
Yes. Like
the point the filmmaker is making is like in Disclosure, again, I imagine if I rewatch Disclosure Day, I'll have different feelings toward it because I was just so caught up in IMAX Spielberg magic. But the fact that the reaction to that movie is basically just, well, that doesn't make any sense and no one would do that and that's not real and we hate that. I'm just like, okay, I'm sorry. I guess I'll go watch every other Spielberg movie that is inherently based on hope and optimism and just go, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why would anyone do that? Because it's just like, can you just like, I get that like people are like, it's boomer cringe. It's all this stuff. And I just go, okay. And look, I'm not like David Koepp has been one of my enemies before, like I've hated some of the stuff he's done. Right. I just think my main defense of Disclosure Day and my defense of, not that anyone's arguing against this, of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, is that sometimes a movie becomes metaphorical when it's mostly been a story for a long time. And then it switches and you can either go with it or you can't. And I think Disclosure Day is very much Steven Spielberg asking the question, what would it take for everyone to be on the same page again in our modern day? This is my best idea of it. And if you disagree, fine. But don't say that the movie doesn't make sense and is awful because of that. Similarly, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 23 hours for all these things to come together in 1939 is, it stretches believability. Sure, I get that. Again, I don't think that question came from a place of I hate this movie. Yeah. It was just like logistically. And I just think I watch this and I just go, it's so clearly to me operating on metaphor for American history and like the power behind what makes America, what has made America's, like the United States of America's great victories stand out. And it's because it's always it's when it's the little guy against the big machine. And America loves to pretend that the whole country is the little guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I think this movie is still 4.5 stars for me, is because it doesn't fully escape the feeling that the movie being made in 1939 with studio funding, directed by Frank Capra, America's favorite filmmaker, is still limiting how much it can really say about America's corruption.
Sure.
And I think that the movie doesn't fully, like, there's just that cognitive dissonance to the movie that I find just holds it back ever so slightly.
That's me with my 4.5, I think. I can absolutely get behind that.
And again, I find it very interesting for that cognitive dissonance. Sure. But it also still holds it back a little bit because I think that it's so predicated on the Taylors are the ones that are the problem. And I go, no, the problem is that America actually has been built on system working this way forever. Right? Like, there's always been this.
Yes.
So anyway, I just think that when citizens make a newspaper to go up against mass-produced lies in the newspaper, I'm simply going to say hell yeah, and think this is a great movie.
I think, yes, 100%. Like, I am always going to be, you give me a montage of Power to the People and I'm locked in. I'm all in on that. And like the thing that I was going to say in the middle of that, which ties into what you were talking about, is like, it is wildly prescient and haunting that Frank Capra in 1939 puts a shot in this movie of police fire hosing demonstrators. Like, in 1939.
Yeah.
Like, that's a civil rights image. That's a today image. Like,
it is.
In 1939, for him to show, like, it's not just anybody. Police are doing that to the parade of, like, you know, save Smith. Smith's right, whatever. Like,
Jeff's telling the truth.
It's crazy. Like, that is a wild thing for Frank Capra, of all people, to be doing.
And it's tapping into, because that is an image that is so modern, and yet the roots of it are so rooted in, like, Reconstruction era, like the Great Strike of 1877. Like, Rutherford B. Hayes sent the military to quell and, like, put out strikes by laborers and, like, union workers, because they were sending the military to do that. Yeah. And, like, so that has been a thing. And it's like, and yet at the same time, you're absolutely right, of, like, that is such a modern image of that same idea, right? Yeah. Of this authority, this power, this system in place that will not stand for disagreement with the status quo and with the publicly agreed upon image, and truth, right? This movie becomes about truth in a few different ways, and it's fascinating. It truly is fascinating that for 1939 there's a shot like that. Yeah, it's just that then. Jim Taylor newspapermen crash a car to hurt a bunch of kids. Yeah. It's pretty dark. It's
crazy.
And again, it's in line with the world this movie set up from the moment that we learned that Jefferson Smith's dad was shot in the back by a corporation. Like, there is a through line of this to, like, ideas of, like, you know, political thrillers in the 70s. Like, there's a through line, and it's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which has very, you know, surface level and public facing has very rounded edges, and yet there's just these little moments of, like, oh shit, okay, like, you're saying stuff, like, they're saying something.
It's like, what's so interesting about this movie to me is that it seems to be that the outside consensus, ironically, is exactly what happens to Jeff Smith. Everybody thinks that this movie is a nice, round little cinnamon roll that is all propaganda and all fluff and nothing of substance. And there's some of that. There is some of that starry-eyed dream. It has
because it's a studio picture from 1939.
Yes, of course, like, some of that is there. But you cut into the thing, and they're like, it's got structure, it's got bones to it, it has substance, just like he does. And I find that so interesting. Yeah. That, like, the modern scrolling through the general consensus on Letterboxd as whatever a pulse that can be for modern film criticism. Sure. Whatever. Yeah. Like, that seems to be a lot of the naysayers of the film, is that they think this movie is Jefferson Smith. And they think what everybody else thinks about Jeff Smith in this movie. when in reality the movie is so much more in line with who he actually is presented at in the film, of like, he has things to say and so does the movie.
He has ideas that are worth speaking in the face of literally, and you look at the movie, you look at how when the movie was coming out, there was literally people being like Congress itself was like rejecting this movie. Yeah. Because this movie is Jefferson Smith. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. So filibuster goes on. All of this is going on outside. Mm-hmm. And then they bring in the baskets. His tie is undone. Mm-hmm. He's hoarse-throated. He sounds like RFK Jr.
But everybody's listening to him. That's
Everyone
the thing.
Listening.
Is that she comes back in. Saunders is like, I've called his mother. We've got to call him off. And Div's like, but they're listening to him. Yeah. Like, look. And everybody is turned and they're finally looking at him. And he can barely speak. And he's going on about these ideas of liberty and these truths. Like, we have to have something to hold on to.
I think it's maybe a little bit earlier, but the one that I really, really want to say is when he says, you're not going to have a country that can make these rules work if you haven't got men that have learned to tell human rights from a punch in the nose.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, that quote has aged like wine. That is the core of the United States, right? Is every time, at every point that human rights are being fought for, so many men in the government take it as a punch in the nose, right? Yeah. It's like, well, we can't free these people. You know, that takes away our financial security. It's states' rights. Then you have like, well, women can't vote. They'll be stupid. They won't vote for us. You have like, you know, like these kids can't. These kids can't have gender affirming care. Like every single case of human rights in this country, the stupidest part of that argument is that it's because there are just these idiots who take it as a threat to themselves. It's a slight
against them.
And the fact that 1939's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington has Jimmy Stewart say, this country's rules don't work if you consider human rights offensive to you. Yeah. Like, whoa. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It made my jaw drop when I watched it for the first time.
It's so interesting that throughout his filibuster, we get these shots from the gallery of different people. First, it's the boys with the nuns, and then there's a shot of veterans. It's all veterans who are applauding him. I can't remember if it's on that line or a different line. But there's just like, it keeps cutting to these very specific groups of people that he's reaching.
Which they set up at the top when the page is explaining how it works. And he's like, that's the section for visitors who come in like this. It swaps out every 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. So it's like allowing at the end for different groups to come in and hear him because he's been filibustering for so long. It's really wonderful.
It's really great stuff. But then they come in all the letters. They
bring in all the telegrams.
Yes, and he's like,
Payne brings them in.
Would my colleague like to know what his state really thinks of him? 50,000 telegrams denouncing him, calling him a fraud,
and telling him to stop.
Yeah, and he's just defeated, and Saunders is defeated, and she screams at him to stop. And breaks down. And like, I kind of just cry from here to the end of the movie of just like Capra captures in a way that I've never seen any other filmmaker hit me on a gut level. Like, his movies get soul crushing defeat better than anyone else. Like when his lows hit, it's biblical. Like it is just totemic of just, the world is crashing in on this character right now. It happens when George Bailey is in the bar praying for the first time and asking God to listen. And it happens right here with Jeff Smith just clutching these telegrams and looking around the room for anyone to listen to him. And he goes to Payne and he says, I guess this is a lost cause. But you're an expert in that. You know all about lost causes, don't you? You and my father said they were the only ones worth fighting for. And again, Payne, like, it's so interesting because all the rest of this time, since Payne has turned on him, he will not look Jeff in the eye.
He won't.
He just deliberately won't do it. And finally in this moment, he meets his gaze. And again, it's just like, that's the thing that breaks me, is just Claude Rains with tears in his eyes listening to Jimmy Stewart just hoarse throat appeal to this sense of humanity. I mean, he's like, you know what's right. You know what's right, and you know what to do because you're a human being. You're a decent human being, you know?
Yeah.
And it just gets me. I don't know, like, just this movie, like the end of this just sings for me in such a great way, leading to this wonderful crescendo of he bursts into anger. And he says, you think I'm licked. You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not. I'll sit here and I will talk until kingdom come, until all of Jim Taylor's armies come marching into this place. Because I will stand against this pack of lies. Somebody will listen to me.
And there's also this moment, it's throughout this whole sequence, but Harry Carey is his name, who plays the president of the Senate.
Yeah.
Who has like noticed, he's like noticed Saunders up there. And he just keeps doing this motion where he keeps like putting his hand in front of his mouth.
Yeah, he's trying to hide his laugh, his smirk. He's charmed by this guy. He's charmed.
Yeah. He's literally
likes him
like
a
giggling
lot.
And kicking his feet about it.
Yeah.
Like he's so when Jeff is saying like when somebody listens to me, it is like fascinating that it's like, well, the president of the Senate is like hearing him, is nothing, if nothing else, like impressed by
the
him,
vice president
right?
of the United States is listening to you right now.
Yeah.
And he's locked in, you know?
Yeah.
It is. And that's like, I'd forgotten that other really lovely moment of he's just collapsed on these. He's just looking at these telegrams and he looks up at the president of the Senate and he just kind of gives him like a very soft smile. And he's like, hey, like it's okay. Like I'm here with you, you know?
Yeah. Quietly a very important performance to the movie, you know? Like on one hand, you have like MVP Claude Rains, you have like Gene Arthur doing incredible work, you have Jimmy Stewart doing incredible work, and then you just have like it's the thing you're talking about with character actors of like just like having this little part and just like doing exactly what needs to be done with it. It's just really good. So
it's really lovely. And then Jeff collapses. He literally passes out.
He just passes out.
He just passes out after 24 hours of doing this. And that's too much for Payne. And he rushes out into the hall and you hear a gunshot. And again, weird, intense darkness in this movie. He tries to kill himself on the Senate floor. Like, and he rushes in and it's, I'm not fit to live. I'm not fit for this office.
Not fit to be a senator. I'm not fit to live.
Everything he said is
true.
Yeah. About me, about Taylor, about the graft, all of it. And everybody explodes into it. It's just like everybody's freaking out. It's like, wow, look at that. The reporters all rush off. Saunders gives a yippee. And they just carry Jeff's body away. Like they just...
If you can believe it, the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie. And it stops there. And it is such an interesting and fascinating ending to me. Of like, especially reading about all this other stuff they shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can picture them all sitting, you know, they're sitting there working on all this stuff. And it's like, you don't need it. Just cut it here. That's the ending. Just leave it.
Yeah. And it's like, I wonder if it's like, because, you know, it sounds like they maybe filmed some of the stuff. It's like, is it when you're filming? Is it when you fully get back and you're editing? Like, is it in the scripting stage? Like, it's just so interesting at what point you would decide, no, we're just going to end it with literally everyone in the Senate chamber just freaking the fuck out. The end.
The end.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And you already said it so succinctly earlier, but like I think it works so well thematically for the film of like the outcome is not the highlight. The highlight is one person making a difference to one person. Like, that's it. Like, truly, like, that is, if you're stripping this movie down to its parts, it's not even about systemic change. It is about the appeal one individual can have to another individual and reminding them of pure, simple human values and truths. And that being a collective of individuals, of this community coming together, as we talked about in that montage, and like that being maybe what the promise of America actually is it has nothing to do with these systems because the systems were kind of rotten from the beginning. but it was this idea of a group of individuals getting together to make something.
Yeah.
And I think that I love that that's where the movie leaves it, is that the triumph is not we got Taylor. The triumph is we changed Payne's mind.
Yeah.
Payne got his soul back.
Yeah. And then from there, I mean, you also look at just like how much basically civil unrest Smith also inspired, you know, in the streets, like, you know, people clashing and fighting and arguing over what's true and what's not. Like, even if you look at this movie and just go, well, you know, it's a little too much of just like one, and I'm like, no, it's not one man.
No.
It's Smith inspiring Saunders and then Saunders instructing Smith on how best to make his case, right?
Well,
and you have Diz helping Saunders like figure out what they need to do to get word out, right?
Yes.
And then you have all the boys and you have Smith's mom. And then you have like this massive swell, and like it's, even if it is about like it would be easy if this were a different movie, it would be easy to make the criticism of like, well, but okay, like it's great that this movie is about one person appealing to one person, but is that really like, that's not the effective change? And I go, no, it is, because it's also about Smith's one-to-one connection with everyone else in the movie that helps him.
Yeah, because like as you're talking about this, the realization I'm having is that like this movie and the relationship that Jeff has to the other characters is kind of like it's an illustration of what the system of representatives is supposed to be. In its purest form, it is, okay, this senator is the mouthpiece of other people. He is the mouthpiece in his position of privilege. He is there to then enact the wants, needs, and voice the opinions of a collective, of his home state, of these other people in his life, of Saunders, who knows so much more than he does, and he is willing to be that, to embody that. Like his personal ego and his own desires and wants do not supersede that in any way. Like it is kind of an illustration of, in a perfect world, what this system of represented delegates is supposed to be.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which is, I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah. And I also am just reminded of, there was this moment that passed by, it was like a few years ago, a number of years ago, where there was this, I think it was in like Wyoming or Montana or one of the Dakotas. There was this moment where this trans person got up in, you know, there was some bullshit trans bill on the docket in the state. And she got up and just talked about who she is and her experience and why she feels this way and what this means and what this is doing. And I remember the headline being that like someone in that senator in that House of Representatives, whatever it was, literally was like changed by that and like spoke up and was like teary-eyed and was like, you making your case, like I am sorry, and like you've really brought me around on this. And like I'm remembering this from years ago, but like that is the point of this movie, right? And like there are many examples of that, I'm sure, of like, but it just doesn't really play that well to the news. Well, that's
which is
the Taylors.
Certainly, right? Circling back around to this closure day of it all, like this is part of the problem, is that it is just that people have decided that making a difference to one person doesn't matter anymore. It does. Like that is, people have decided that doesn't count for anything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. You change the mind of one person and here's this deluge of bad stuff. And it's like, but it is incremental. Like, you know, that is the, like, whatever I'm paraphrasing, but like the quote that like the long line of history curves towards justice and equality. Like it's slow and it's incremental, but it does curve that direction, and it will continue to do so because one person changed another person's mind, and you multiply that by how many millions of people, and then you get these huge shifts in change. Yeah. But that doesn't sell well. It doesn't sell well in a newspaper, and it doesn't sell well on social media. That doesn't go viral, you know?
No, it doesn't. No.
And like that's what's so frustrating, is that people have allowed that mindset of it's I'm going down the wrong rabbit hole, but like just like
no good.
It comes down to even just the fundamental thing of like we have lost value in individuals, period. Of like if somebody's like, yeah, 200 people saw my animation today. That's a lot of people. It's like, well, I mean, but I mean, it's not like, it's not 500K. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Why does it matter? What's the, whatever, you know? And like, I feel like that has applied to so much of just how we interact with society and with politics and with change, is that we only look for the flashy thing, not realizing the flashy thing, if you zoom in on it, you know, like a pointillist painting, it is made up of every single individual moment of one person changing their mind. And we're not allowed to change our minds anymore. We can't be wrong. You can't grow. You can't make a mistake.
Well, that's the other thing is I was going to say is that the idea of the individual is entirely based in the self.
Yeah.
Another person can't be one individual, right? Another person can't be just one person who, like, the idea is that you are the individual. And you are never wrong. And if anyone ever says you're wrong, it's an attack on you as an individual.
Yeah.
That is a threat to your individual right? And like a threat to your sanctity as an individual. And it's like, no, but everyone's an individual, and that's what community is. Mm-hmm. And we don't, tech companies and big tech and like literally entire like social campaigns behind the scenes have been designed to make us all isolated, and to discourage community, and to make you feel like your community is only through the phone that a billionaire controls. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, now we're getting really into other ideas.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But it applies. It applies here,
and that's the discussion that Mr. Smith Goes to Washington can inspire. Because that's what it's about on some level. It's about the connection between two people, one of whom is literally been paid and blackmailed and convinced of this is the benefit. And it's very interesting, that scene where he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I've been a good senator. We've gotten more grants. And it's like, right. But like, you're in the pocket of someone else. Like, a man owns you. Like, you are bought out. And it's unfortunate and very fortunate for this movie that it's still so relevant. Yeah. You know?
And like, if for whatever reason you have listened all the way through this and not seen this movie, like, that is my appeal to you to watch this movie, is exactly that. Like, it's just, it is still relevant. We've been sitting here for 2 hours talking about the ways in which it is relevant. And this movie is, going on 90 years old. Yeah. And it still has imagery and thoughts and ideas that are prescient.
Yeah. And I do just want to quote my funny little review from last year, where I say, if you're going into this primed not to believe in America, I have good news. This film doesn't actually ask you to believe. In fact, Smith's crisis point is still relevant today because everyone with common sense agrees that the corruption Smith sees in Washington is the truth. And there isn't really a way around that. So they don't ask you to believe in America. They show you why it's important to fight against it. And like, I think this is a little different because obviously it's asking you to believe in an America that doesn't exist. Yeah. But like, I think some people might look at this and think that it's a movie that's telling you to believe that America has been and will continue to be good if we just, it's just a few bad apples, Yeah. And I think that the movie's doing something deeper than that. I think it's like, I think the core principle stands of Smith can't just believe America to be better than all this and go preach it to kids in the hopes that that does something. In the present moment, he owes it to the future to fight against what America currently is. And I think that's the point that the movie makes really, really well. Yeah. Is that I think that, I wouldn't say that this is a perfect depiction of America's problems because I think that it does not and cannot address the fact that this is a long-standing problem. and is kind of core to America's design.
Yeah.
But I think that it does make a great case for, hey, this is what America is, and it's up to us to believe in something more. And what that something more is to just believe that we can actually just kind of do right by each other if we just simply aren't fucking assholes. I don't know. I'm losing the sauce a little bit. I went off script. This whole thing has been scripted. Everything I've said I wrote in advance and is therefore perfect.
Yep. Approved by Jim Taylor.
And yeah, and again, just like my final point on this movie before we get into criteria is just what I said earlier, but just like I fully think I remember seeing people say like, oh, the ending is over optimistic. And I'm like, I think that's premature, if not presumptuous. I think that the movie ends triumphant, but like, it's very easy to imagine like after the movie ends, it's just like, okay, well, here comes Taylor again, or here comes another machine entirely to just pave over everything that just happened, right? Of like, Payne clearly is unstable. He tried to shoot himself in the, it's all that. But I think like I do feel it's intentional that the film doesn't end with a big victory TM. It ends with a small victory, which it treats as the biggest thing to ever happen because it is. Because every small victory is a massive victory in the grand scheme of things. It's just not all going to be one giant victory at the same time, Yeah,
I agree.
And so I just think, any win against the machine is a major victory. And and I think that's what this movie's about.
I agree. Well put.
Thanks. Criteria? Yes. Historical and technical relevance.
I mean, inducted into the National Film Registry the first year it was out, along with Kane. Like it's in that first graduating class.
I think it's similarly a movie that people know if they haven't seen it and think they know what it is.
Has like fully worked its way into the lexicon. Yeah. Blank Goes to Washington, like you said.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally, like it's fascinating looking at the history of the National Film Registry of like a bunch of Hollywood people went and testified before Congress saying we needed something like the National Film Registry because of everything Ted Turner was doing with the archive and all of that stuff. And one of those people was Jimmy Stewart. And headlines read, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Like, it happened. It was happening in real life that Jimmy Stewart went and spoke before Congress in favor of, like, we need to preserve film,
Yeah.
Passes the Simpsons test.
Obviously.
Who
went to Washington? Lisa? Probably Lisa?
I can't. I
just
know they've done it.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's certainly, like, it's a contender. It's absolutely a contender. What do we think in conversation with Kane, though?
I think you could. Give the point to Smith because it does feel similarly of a movie that has maintained a certain amount of relevancy in the cultural zeitgeist.
Is this in the Sight and Sound list?
Oh, whoa.
I don't know
I didn't check that before this. Uh-oh. Wow, I'm really off my game coming back to the show.
Tisk, tisk.
Tisk, tisk. Let's see.
I'll
go to my likes. I'll go to the lists that I've liked on Letterboxd.
It doesn't look like it is. I'm only seeing it in people's personal lists.
Is it not? Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean,
okay.
There's that. Just something to toss in.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So now I know this movie's terrible.
Yeah. So it's a terrible movie.
Hey,
Jefferson Smith is number 11 on AFI's 100 Heroes.
Okay. Where does it land on AFI's list? Surely it's on
number
AFI's
29.
List. Okay. Fascinating.
Well, I mean, in 1998, it was 29, and then in the 10th anniversary, it jumped up to 26.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense it's not in the Sight and Sound because it's like, well, that's a bunch of, that's global. Yeah. They have other stuff they want to put up, and that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. I think I'm gonna give it to Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I think I can get behind that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sign off on that?
I do. Absolutely.
I have a new bill. My bill is Mr. Smith takes the first criteria point, Representative Rawlins from
Yes,
Tennessee.
yes.
Do you?
Don't let me in here. I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay. All right. So second criteria then. How well do we think the movie's doing what it's trying to do?
I mean, pretty well. Like it is interesting. Like that it survives the tension between its communist writer and its patriotic director, and like really rides that line straight down the middle in a big way. I will say, I do think that maybe not necessarily through any faults or virtues of its own, I do think the message and the ideas behind this movie have remained salient in a way that Citizen Kane's haven't. Like, we've lost a lot of the intentional, like the initial meaning of Kane, whereas I feel like this message and meaning has stayed pretty consistent.
Yeah, pretty readable.
Yeah, readable is a great word.
Yeah, one day we'll get to the bottom of what happened to people understanding.
Maybe that's the 100th episode. Just like, all right, what happened here?
What happened here? But I think that's a good point. I think that, like, that's what I was thinking when I kind of brought that up, is just like, I think that this is a movie that wears its relevancy on its sleeve.
Yeah.
Whereas Kane is a little more guarded with its relevancy. It's a little more, as the guy from my neighborhood when I was a kid said of Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, it's a thinking movie. And Kane is a thinking movie. And not that this isn't a thinking movie, but this one's, again, I like how I put it, if I may say so myself.
I agree.
It wears its relevancy on its sleeve.
Yep.
And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
So is it doing what it's trying to do better than Citizen Kane's doing what it's trying to do? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, this one feels closer to me, but like,
yeah.
I'll give it to Smith, I think.
Okay. And do you like it?
Yeah, I do. Like, genuinely, like I do quite a bit. Like 4.5 stars pretty consistently. Like I don't know. It gets under my skin in a big way, and like, like I talk about, like it makes me consider the things that like I do value about, my home country. Like what are the ideas and things that, like, again, may not be exclusive to us, but like what are things about stories of Americans and collective and individual Americans that speak to me, what values exist within that. And this movie gets me thinking about all those things and gets me feeling about all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that this movie does inspire in me, like, it reminds me that the thing that I have love for and respect for is like the movements of people in this country, and like the fights that have been fought for, like, if the minute that you accept that human rights actually haven't been a given in the United States ever, from the very beginning, is the minute that you can really turn that around and be like, okay, well then if they aren't a given, if they aren't certain and unalienable, from the government's point of view, then from whose point of view are they? Are they, certain and unalienable? And I think that it just reminds me of all the people that I actually really do, like, am grateful to for standing up for what they believe in, and for forcing change through, no matter how it had to be forced through, whether that was through force and like riots, and through, strikes, and through all of these things, or is it through, the electoral system? Is it through legislation? Is it through those things? And oftentimes those things go hand in hand, Yeah. And this movie reminds me of all that. I can't help it. It reminds me of all that, when it shows me a painting of Thomas Jefferson, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
But when we get to the final climax, and it's all of that, it's just like, this thing is soaring, like it's flying. And I think that feels good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
point
So
to
clean
Smith.
sweep.
Clean sweep, I think.
For Smith. Okay.
Yeah. Take a step back. I think I don't know. It feels right to me.
Feels right to me.
Yeah.
I would say so. I think. I mean, like from a technical level, there are those interesting moments of of Eisensteinian craft from Capra, and I think that from a writing perspective, it's really strong. I think the dialogue is really strong, and like I think that the performances are great. I mean, obviously, you can look at Kane and laud it for the things that everyone does anyway, which is just how it looks and the structure of it, of course. But I don't know. Every once in a while, we talk about a movie that is simpler in its craft than Kane, and yet still manages to hit just as hard, if not harder. And I think that's a big thing that I love when we hit on and get to talk about on this show is like, right, but like you can talk about how a movie is innovative. And you talk about how a movie changes things and does things differently and is really successful for it. But also sometimes you just can't beat a damn well-made movie, you know?
Well, that's like I think the strongest thing in this movie's corner in that regard is like it's a great example of, and I say this knowing that like it was not a perfect system by any stretch, but like this is a great example of the strengths of the studio system. You've got on contract artists and technicians and actors and writers, and everybody is a well-oiled machine. They can churn out an exact replica of the Senate chamber, and that just lives on the lot, you know? And that is, it's down to the detail. And you've got these wonderful character actors under contract you can pull in, and they are like, it's an environment that allows them to be cutting their teeth on all different kinds of movies, working with all different kinds of directors. Directors have access to all these different kinds of artists that they can be working with who are under contract. Like, again, studio system was not perfect by any stretch.
No.
But this movie does exemplify a lot of the strengths of that. Okay, this is one big acting troupe, essentially, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Works.
I think you're right. I think and very much so it's very easy and worth talking about to point out all the flaws of the studio system. And it's good that it was dissolved.
Naturally.
Or was it? No, it was. But there's a reason it worked. And the reason it worked is because they had good artists working hard all the time. So they were really well practiced in making good stuff. And so, you can't really fault it for that. I think that's a good point. Okay, well, I think we've reached the end of the discussion then.
I think so.
Okay. Shall I say it?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to say it?
No, you can say it.
Okay. I'll say it. Twist my arm. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is better than Citizen Kane.
There it is.
And I feel that. I think I agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
This is a movie that when people are like, oh, should I watch Citizen Kane? I go, if you want to.
Yeah.
But Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a movie that from the minute I watched it for the first time, I was like, hey, you guys.
Just everybody, please.
You should actually give this a shot. You should watch it. So I'm glad we got to bring it to the show finally. And I think that was an illuminating discussion.
I agree. That was a very, very good discussion. I like that a lot. What are we doing next time?
Well, so it's another my pick.
Yes.
There's a few of those in a row.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. All right. Next time we'll be talking about Beau Travail. Beau Travail. Beau Travail. Beau Travail. I remember how to say Travail. Come on. That's one of those classic French words. So I'm excited to talk about that. Neither of us have seen that before.
No. Be interested to check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, until then, everyone, take care.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.